What would our lives look like if our solitary focus was Jesus Christ and being in proximity to him? There's a story in Luke 7 about a woman who is so desperate to be with Jesus that she doesn't mind wading right into the middle of a group of judgmental people who know exactly who she is, who know exactly what she's done, and putting on a public spectacle there because all she can see in the room is Jesus. She anoints Jesus' feet with her tears. She pours perfume on them. She uses her hair to wipe his feet. And what Jesus says in response to that is stunning. Jesus says something that it's very easy to miss how significant it is. He says, "Simon, ever since I came into your house, you have not washed my feet. You have not greeted me with a kiss, but ever since she has come into this room, she has not stopped washing my feet with her tears and wiping them with her hair and kissing my feet." In the ancient world, when you ate a meal, you came to dinner at someone's house, you would lie down next to each other so that my head is up against your chest, which meant your feet were up against me and my feet were up against the person next to them. So it was very important that you got your feet washed before you went to the meal. Just like we think about washing our hands before we sit down to eat, they really needed to wash their feet because your feet would be all up against me. Your feet could get me dirty. Jesus says to Simon, "You have not washed my feet, but she is washing my feet." That means that as she takes her hair and uses her tears and this perfume to anoint Jesus and wash his feet are filthy because he's been walking the dirt roads of Palestine to get to Simon's house. They've not been washed. That means her hair is filthy. Her hair is grimy. The dirt and the dust and the yuck that were all over Jesus' feet, the stinkiness of his feet have been transferred to her hair. And she is doing this out of sheer dedication and deep love. I wish that we could go back through our translations and just rehead some of these sections, because in so many translations it says, Jesus anointed by a sinful woman. See, that's our obsession with where things start, but Jesus is more interested in where things finish. And he's more interested in the process. I would love to see this section of scripture get reheaded something more like the woman who loved Jesus deeply. What would it look like if we loved Jesus so intently, so deeply, that we became unconcerned about what the people around us thought of our actions in regard to Jesus? That we became less self-consumed and more Christ-consumed? That we gave sacrificially in order to advance the cause of Jesus and to honor him and recognize his worthiness. See, it's like John the Baptist once said, he must become greater, he must increase, I must decrease. This woman understood what John understood in her deep passion and desire to be close to Jesus and to serve Jesus. We need to have those desires that she had, to be close to Jesus and to serve Jesus in even a self-deprecating way if that's what's necessary. And in this whole story, this woman never says a word. They talk about her, they talk around her, but Jesus talks to her and tells her to go in peace because her sins have been forgiven. There are things that bother us far more than they bother Jesus. What's most important in life is doing what Jesus appreciates and not worrying so much about the onlookers, the spectators, those who are not getting their hands dirty. They have lots of opinions. They have lots of views. They may pile on the shame and the guilt. They may push your buttons to get you to relent, but they're not in the game. What truly matters is what Jesus wants the most. Now, one more thing that's interesting to me about this story and about this woman is that we really don't know how much she really knows or understands about Jesus. I would venture to say, this is a guess, but given the fact that we have 4 Gospels in the entire New Testament, we know more about Jesus than she did. She didn't know how the story ended. She did not understand death, burial, and resurrection. Like, this would not be in her frame of reference. We understand a lot more about Jesus, I would say, probably, than she did. Is our devotion, dedication, and lack of concern for the thoughts and feelings of judgment of others toward us as much as hers. Maybe she heard him preach, maybe she heard him teach. She clearly saw him as a safe person to approach. She clearly saw him as worthy of honor. And yet sometimes, even though we know more about the graciousness and love of Christ, we still hesitate to be vulnerable with him. We still hesitate to be vulnerable with Christ in front of other people. Let me give you an example of this. So I'm not a hand raiser so much in worship. I might be kind of like waist high, kind of palms up, right? Although the Bible talks about lifting holy hands in prayer and that's perfectly acceptable. It's a worship posture, but it's one that has traditionally made me fairly uncomfortable to do in front of people, especially people I know. Sometimes if I'm off away somewhere, it's a lot easier to do that. But as soon as I do that, my thoughts go to what other people think. No, my thoughts go to a made-up version of what I think other people think about me when no one's actually paying attention to me. Okay? And it's hard for me to separate my perceived and made-up judgment of what others are thinking of me. It's like we believe that people are far more invested in their attention toward us than they actually are. And so it's really difficult for me to feel the freedom to worship with my arms extended or my hands in the air in absolute surrender to God, right? Or to kneel in God's presence in corporate worship. These are things that I have done, but the moment I do them, I'm having to work on my mind because my mind races to others rather than races to Christ. That's not Jesus's problem, and it's not a problem with the practice. It's a problem of my own pride and the overestimation of what other people think and putting too much value on that. So this woman is so focused on Christ that she gives absolute sacrificially, not caring what anyone else thinks, and she walks out with the greatest treasure of all, the attention of the Lord, the forgiveness of her sins, and a moment with Jesus, one of the very few moments of Jesus in Scripture that are recorded in all four Gospels. There's only like less than a dozen things that are really recorded, like on large scale, in all four Gospels. She made that amazing cut. We don't even know her name, but when we meet her in eternity, let us please not say to her, "Oh, you're the sinful woman who anointed Jesus." Let's say, "Oh, you are the inspirational woman of deep love and passion," right? Oh, how was that to feel your hair on Jesus' feet, to anoint him, to wash his feet, to kiss his feet? How blessed that must have been. And you threw it all to the wall. You just threw it all to the side. All of your worry, all of your concern, all of your anxiety over the eyeballs watching you, judging you, piercing daggers of uninvested people staring down upon you, and you went for it. You see, I think that we really would like to be a lot more like her than we are. The story of the sinful woman who anoints Jesus' feet. No, that's not what's happening at all. Yes, she was a sinful woman, but she was not consumed by that as much as she was consumed by Jesus. So let us be consumed by Jesus. Let us follow her example of deep love and passion, that we desire to be in the presence of Christ far more than we care what anyone thinks about it. So have a wonderful day. God bless you, and I love the fact that you're watching this. And my hope and prayer is that this encourages you today in your walk with the Lord to focus upon him and not be so concerned about what uninvested people think. And by the way, if you'd like to watch another video about Jesus, I'm putting one up here on the screen for you, and I hope you'll take a minute to watch that. Take care.